Good morning. It is extremely cold. I'm surprised that it is mist and rain instead of snow. But we had a light dusting of snow the last few days, and it has been ridiculously cold, well below freezing for 2 days. But somehow, miraculously, it gets just warm enough for there to be no snow accumulation. And today, for whatever reason, it's just this painful, stingingly cold mist in the air that is almost snow, but isn't. And that's what it's like this morning. And I wanted to brave the cold and the sleet because I love that kind of thing. It makes me feel alive. But most importantly, it is time for a morning walk and the first morning walk chat of 2025. So let me see if I could pull this back a bit. Oh man, that stings my face. Whew. Maybe this was a bad idea. I hope you all had a wonderful Yuletide, Christmas, end of year celebration, holiday stuff with your kinfolk. I certainly did. Oh, man. I'm going to have to pull this down again. Okay. I shall veer to the left here and walk into Wealthy People neighborhood. And perhaps that will let me be at least crosswind so I'm not looking and talking directly into this stinging snow, sleet, rain stuff. There's probably a word for that. I just don't know it. It's like a mist that is almost freezing, and it feels like it's wet but also frozen at the same time when it hits your face. Surely there's a word for that. Regardless, okay. I veered off into Wealthy People neighborhood, and now I'm crosswind, so it's a little better. Let's see, can I do this? I can do this, okay. So anyway, taking down Christmas decorations, seeing the family say goodbye, seeing cousins and friends say goodbye. It hurts, but one of the things that the holidays have said to me, have told me, now that I've gotten older, is things are seasonal. Life is seasonal. You're young, then you're adult, then you're old, then you die. And one of the things I think that makes the holiday time special, whether you celebrate Christmas or not, is having an event that you know, ooh, that's a bright light. My goodness. Wow. I wonder if that's new or if it's just so dark because of the fog that's on this time of day when usually it isn't when I'm over here. But that's really bright. Look at that back there. My goodness. Okay. The wind and the stinging sleet relented a little bit. So I'll take my hood down for now. Anyway, it makes me think about the seasonality of life and experience. And it makes me think about my own life, my own experiences, and the seasons I've been through. And, oh my God, I have to put this back up. It's horrible. Okay, this was probably a bad idea for a shoot. I probably should have just waited another day or two for this to subside. But I wanted to capture it. I don't know if you can tell, but the haze that you see around things is just this painfully stinging mist, rain, sleet stuff. I can't recall experiencing anything quite like this before. This is fun. But anyway, the holiday stuff this year, especially taking down decorations with my mother yesterday and the day before, the seasonality of life, I recognize. My mother is old, in her 70s, still pretty healthy by all accounts, but like many American boomers, just lives on Coca-Cola and fast food and corn oil and all this other shit that she was raised to consume for decades and decades. So I worry about her health, but apart from her diet, she seems to be doing pretty good. But regardless, she said to me that she cherishes Christmas each year because not only does she get to see friends and family and nieces and nephews and grandkids and things, but she also cherishes it because it shows that there's one more year that God has let her live. Now, while I'm a practicing Christian, I don't really believe in the metaphysics or divinity. I've never been able to believe in any of that stuff. But the meaning that it has for her lingers in me. And I think that's why seasonality is so important to our people, whether it be anything, celebrating birthdays, celebrating anniversaries at work, celebrating, this business has been here 50 years. Waha. Like, the way that we celebrate and mark time is even related to that kind of seasonal appreciation of ourselves with the divine. Looking at time, it's weird getting older when you start viewing time as a more precious resource, the less of it you intrinsically know you have. And on the one hand, I can see why it would make some people go mad. I'm running out of time. But on the other hand, there's also a peace that comes with it of saying, well, I'm old. I have served my time. And now I can just be quiet and wither away and let the younger people that are at the height of their lives be the ones that are the movers and the shakers, the ones that are creating the banquets, the ones that are celebrating, the ones that are putting together the parties, the ones that organize all this and that. And then you just get to be an old elder that sits back and takes your time to appreciate the things around you and contemplate on, hopefully, the good things about your life and family, and be ready for death. And my mother didn't say anything like that in those words. She said it to me in very heavily Southern Baptist Christian words. But the meaning was still there. And it made me think about my life, my experiences, my failures. And I mostly do not have friendships, relationships, loved ones, professional experiences, social experiences that I can be proud of. Like I've talked about many times on this channel, I was troubled as a youth, disturbed, angry, unfortunate experiences. And I think that if it wasn't for this anti-white, anti-male, anti-truth society we live in, I would not have been the disparate, degen wanderer that I was for about a decade of my life. Some of the best years of my life wasted on that garbage. Thankfully, I met some wise people along the way who helped me, and I left all that stuff eventually. But those are years I'll never get back. Those are pieces of me traded away for drugs and partying and self-abasement and all this other garbage that was just self-destructive, self-loathing, terrible behavior. And if I would have had better parenting from my late father, who was mostly a shitbag to me, if I would have had a better culture that wasn't so anti-everything that matters, then maybe I wouldn't have turned out that way. And so when I think about my life and my experiences, it's not like my mother at all. Now, one could say this might be just a product of being a child of winter. We are born into the ashes of a once thriving race and civilization. It also could be a little bit of my own fault. Being born weird, different, drove me to be easy prey to certain aspects of culture and whatnot. But all of that aside, the thing I took away from my talk with my mother was that things are seasonal, and you have to know when to pack up and to put things away, because that gives them meaning. And it made me think about my own life, my own choices I've made in the last 8 or 9 years. Choices to engage in politics, engage in race war stuff, engage in dissident discourse. And I don't regret what I've done. These are things that I am proud of, things that I have done well. And I feel like I have been a positive influence on people that I'm connected to, on people who listen to me, whether it be in person, on Discord, on Telegram chats, at OGC meetups, etc. I don't feel ashamed or like I have failed. But I also feel like I am getting to the end of this season. I enjoy being a content creator. I enjoy being a speaker and an entertainer, but it also hurts me how much all of this has pulled me away from my loved ones in my life. My best friend, husband guy. I've just started repairing the damage to that relationship that you guys know about. I've been talking about it for the last year on my channel. I have a slightly better relationship with my mother and my cousins now that I spend some time each year visiting them, talking to them. I went to visit an aunt of mine that I hadn't gone to see in like 7 years. She's still alive, and she was thrilled to see me. And I spent all day with her, talking about stuff, catching up. Another one of my cousins came by to visit. It was a wonderful experience. There are nieces and nephews that I've only seen once in my life. There's a new one, a new niece that was just born late last year, who we all got to see around Christmas this year. And more than anything, I think that the season of me being a dissident, the season of me being actively engaged in politics is coming to a close. I'm not stopping my channel. I'm still going to do Discordant Dragons for at least this year. And I love working with Chris, so I am still going to do Empire of Lies, at least this year. But for 2026, I don't know. Because I want the season of me being a dissident content creator and a dissident speaker and behind-the-scenes political person, I want to be free of that. I don't have the energy or the wherewithal to carry this into my 50s, 60s, and 70s. I don't even know how many more years I have left of life. And that puts it into perspective for me. And this is basically what I came to after thinking about this and what to say on this video. There are things that a man can do and things that a man can't do. And the things that a man can do to change society, to change government, to change this cursed modernity we live in, requires a life of dedication. It requires men to create organizations like the White Wellbeing Community, like the Old Glory Club. Organizations that are led by convicted men and who surround themselves with other convicted younger men to help them get engaged with taking power and building a power base, whether that be in government, academia, corporations, or all of the above. And I just don't have that in me. That's not in me. I'm worn out. I spent my life energy unwisely. I have a lot of mental trauma and mental problems that I don't share with you publicly on my channel. I have strained relationships with the handful of people who genuinely care about me that I would rather nurture instead of keeping on a back burner. That's one of the reasons why in 2024, I slowed down the political stuff. I slowed down my content. I took it easy, and my life was better for it. This year will be more of the same. I might even start doing other kinds of content in a different channel by a different name entirely to see how that feels. I don't know. But what I do know is I can't do this forever. This is not an eternal part of who I will be for the rest of my existence. I made this channel 7 years ago, maybe 8, I don't remember exactly. I think it was 7. And then I really didn't do much with it until around 6 years ago, maybe 6.5. And the whole reason that I wanted to be a public voice was to see who else out there had my experiences and who else noticed just how wrong everything has become. And I found those people. Thousands and thousands of you. I'm not alone. My voice isn't needed. It's just not. I don't feel the burden anymore that I once did about feeling like I have to give my entire life to fighting this. That was a selfish, egotistical thing. I am a nobody from nowhere. that has a negligible following. A few hundred of you pay attention to my content. If I disappeared tomorrow, I don't think that it would help us win or make us lose. I have to be realistic about that. And driving myself to an egotistical point of, I have to do this or there's no future, that's egotistical narcissism. But many of us who get involved in this culture war stuff feel that no one's doing anything, everything is screwed up, it falls on me to fix it. Many of us feel that and experience that. I did. Everyone I've talked to at meetups has experienced that. But it's just not the case. Especially for me. A nobody from nowhere with almost no following. So I have absolved myself of that egotistical narcissistic burden of thinking that it falls on my shoulders to fix everything. It doesn't. I see more and more people getting activated, so to speak, realizing things are wrong and screwed up, talking about it. My work is done. I feel like I have completed my mission, so to speak. I have spoken for years and years in a positive, constructive way as possible about race and country and nation and politics and conflict and war and identity, things that matter to me that I wanted to sort out in my own mind. And I've talked to dozens, hundreds of people on my channel now. Speakers from all over the spheres. And I feel like I've done what I set out to do. And so that season of my life is over. And so at some point last year, I started a new season. A season of, I suppose, winter for me being a public figure. I pulled back on the stick with everything. Seemingly very few people want to come to any live events that I host anymore. That could just be economic because of how shitty the economy's been in the last couple of years. I don't know. But we'll see as things get better if people want to come to picnics or camping trips and stuff. But the last year and a half, there's been very little interest in any of my events. So I don't know. Again, it's not me complaining. It's just, you know, maybe my crest has already fallen. And I'm just not as important anymore, which is fine. That's fine. I don't necessarily want to be important. I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be someone that feels a burden of pedagogy, however you're supposed to say it. So this year, my New Year's resolution is to be as honest with myself and my followers as possible about what direction I will take my public self. Will there even be a public self in 2026? I don't know. Maybe not. But what I do know is I'm older. I have older loved ones who depend on me. I have a husband and in-laws who love me and want me to be a bigger part of their lives. I have friends who want me to be a bigger part of their lives. And hopefully, I will have opportunities for things that will be good for me that I don't even expect by pursuing all of those avenues of genuine connection and genuine love and friendship in my life. So that is my New Year's resolution. All of that stuff I just talked about. To be honest about where I'm headed as a public personality to all of my lovely followers, and to build a better life for myself and to move away from the things that are harmful to me, my well-being, and especially the well-being of the ones who depend on me. I have to do what is best for me because I only have so many years left. I don't know how many. 5, 15, 30. I don't know. Nobody knows. But what I do know is I'm not young anymore. I find myself feeling and thinking differently in the last year than my younger self did. And it's starting to rain heavily. But I'm going to leave that down because I'm about to wrap up. So, consider this a New Year's resolution video. Also consider it sort of like a letting you know that me as a personality and this channel is not a permanent forever thing that will last for a decade or two. I think that eventually I will wrap this up or pass it off to someone else. If Discordant Dragons is to continue, I might pass it off to Chris or someone else. I don't know. Or maybe I'll keep doing it for years. Who knows? But what I do know is the season of me being a passionate culture warrior is definitely over. And I think it's been over for a year or two. And now I just want to talk and to enjoy my life, what little of it I have, and build the best winter of my life that I can. And I think we'll leave it there. I'll see you guys Thursday evening. Me and Chris will be back in our usual time slot. And of course, we'll see you next Monday night for more Discordant Dragons. Happy 2025, everyone. May this year be better than your last. God bless.